mental health, but they're not putting it into the community where we could actually prevent mental health problems. So what we're doing is we're putting together 1,000 preachers, 1,000 nonprofits, and 1,000 people who are activists and so forth, and we're going to get the money to be put into our churches and nonprofits and provide the services that our young people need before they end up in the hands of mental health. If a kid is depressed because he doesn't have clothes, he's hungry, he lives in poor conditions, well, that's the appropriate response for that condition. So what we would like to do is, with the funding through the churches and nonprofits and through the people who are out here doing the work, what we want to do is then provide those services for our young people where they can go get a meal, where they can get some decent looking clothes, not necessarily Nike and all the top brands, but at least where you can be neat and clean and provide the services that our people need in tutoring and all of these type of things, so that the self-esteem can be at a level where they're not feeling depressed and anxiety and things like that.
That makes sense. Absolutely. And if more people knew about what was taking place in the schools for sending people for evaluations, they will be more apt to do more things at home to prepare the children, because the students don't get on the radar unless they're not astute, they're not focused, they're not generating, effective and essential progress. So if we could get past that by actually doing more tutoring, more preparedness, even before they go to school, like even holding a pencil before they go to kindergarten, that would help them to not be on that radar.
Absolutely. And let me just say this. We cannot call the proper emotional response to crises and desperate situations mental illness. It's like right now, because of this virus, we have people storming the Capitol in Detroit, Michigan, white people with guns and rifles running up in there, because when you put people in desperate situations, people will respond desperately. It has nothing to do with mental illness. It has nothing to do with any of that. And so what we need to do is start understanding that when people are locked up and locked in and shut in, then they're going to have a certain emotional response. So that's the appropriate thing. It's not some bad thing.
Absolutely. It's an innate thing. It's a human being thing. It's a physiological thing. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we just have to make sure that we don't allow people to set the standard. People don't live in this community, not going through what we go through, not seeing the things as children, and then they come up with what's wrong with us. Well, there's something wrong with that. It's like you have to at least know what a person's going through to even determine if you live in a blissful marriage and you're happy as you can be, and somebody is heartbroken in their marriage, how are you going to advise them how they feel if you've never gone through it?
Right. Absolutely.
So for us to sit in an ivory tower and just arbitrarily come up with mental illnesses, we need the clergy, nonprofits, our people to put on their big boy and big girl pants and get busy in these streets, and let's address the conditions that are affecting us in our community.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know you have a program where you talk about 1,000 ministers gathering together, and
yeah, that's what we want to do. We want to get 1,000 ministers.
Mm-hmm.
We want to get 1,000 nonprofits, and we want to get 1,000 people who are doing the work. If we had 3,000 people administering programs in our community This is where the ministers come in and stuff. We need to have the ministers because they represent the people, and that way we can influence the politicians, and then we can get some of the legislation we need to change the conditions of our people.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why I talked about, share with you about EACL, Esports Amateur Competitors League, for the people that have nonprofits, the businesses that have nonprofits, the ministers that have nonprofits, that work within nonprofits. Is an opportunity for people of all ages to participate in playing video games and raising money for their nonprofits. Also, there's students, children who aspire to go to college, and the nonprofits can also help them to go to college by simply playing video games.
Right, right. Well, there's a lot of things and methods out there that can benefit people.
Exactly.
We do not have a society where everybody's locked out. We can't include people and come up with innovative ideas. We know that because we see with this virus that there's so many people who are at this very moment working on different cures and vaccines and methods, and they're finding as they go that things aren't like they thought they were.
Right.
And so anytime we start addressing the community, we can do the same thing. We're sending satellites now routinely into space, passing planets, going into solar systems, but we can't handle the homeless population right here on our own street. I mean, we need to take a big look at this, how they bail out Wall Street, but they don't bail out our street. And so it's time for the people to unify and quit waiting for the crumbs that come off the table of these individuals and start preparing our own meals, fixing our own pies, eating our own food without the assistance of these people. It's out there. The money's there. We are the equivalent, I think, of the 7th largest economy, black people in the world, but we can't unify. We can't put our money together. We can't think of innovative ideas. We don't set up funds like other groups do. What can we do if 40 million black people just put in $2 a month?
Right.
I mean, we can change the world. And there are some plans. There's no, we need to put it together and hope. No. Actually, there's some plans being designed, but the people have to be willing to invest in themselves, and then we got to be able to trust the people who are actually setting up and doing the things that we want to do, because one of the biggest things is we don't trust each other.
Yeah.
So we have to, and then when we do trust each other, then somebody rip off all the money and run. And, you know, so it's time for us to get a new mindset. It's time for us to quit playing. It's time for us to quit listening to Master. And it's time for us to listen to God and ourselves and go out here in this community and make changes that need to be changed.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it starts at home first. Absolutely. Yep.
Absolutely. You know, the idea that the parents could not discipline their children. We can't spank our children, but law enforcement, if they need to, can beat them, tase them, shoot them. Mental health can drug them, electric shock them, but we can't spank them. The people who birth them and the people who feed them every day and the people who look out for their welfare and take care of when they sick, they got the least amount of rights.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be. And I'm not advocating for punishing kids, but they do need to know that there's consequences, and you must have the ability to enforce it. And, you know.
Absolutely. And education is power. So we definitely, it's every Saturday. It seems like we have a track record for Saturdays, that every Saturday we give about 10, 15 minutes of good wisdom, resources. Absolutely. And definitely we're advocating for more education and to stay informed. And some people call it staying woke. At the same time, being optimistic, having a growth mindset. And I definitely want to let you know, I need people to know where they can find you, because soon you're going to be rolling out your newsletter as well. And just to keep up with them, you want to say it yourself where they can find you?
Yeah, they can try find me. I'm gonna give two emails.
Okay, and I'm gonna write them down too.
One is RevShaw at cchr.org. The one you get out earlier. Another one is FShaw, JR, SHAWJR at yahoo.com.
Okay.
Let me do it one more time. SHAWJR at yahoo.com.
Okay.
Those are the emails they can reach me at. You can always reach me at the F. Shaw Jr. one, because that's my personal email.
Yes.
And then if they can, just go on the CCHR INC
.org.
Yeah, CCHRINT.org, and look at all of the information. If your child is on a psychiatric drug, you can go on that, enter that drug into the database, and get all the side effects and things like that on it. And we have a Fight for Kids campaign that tells you that 6.7 million children are on psychiatric drugs and things. So there's a wealth of information. We don't have to be left out in knowing what's going on, but we do have to be innovative enough to go and do what we need to do.
Absolutely. So until next week, we'll be back with more information from, as you see, Reverend Shaw, the Rev Shaw. Go to work.
Go to work, and thank you, my sister. We will be back this time again next week.
All right. Thank you very much. Way to go.